So I want to share a story with you. But before I do, I want to read from a very common Bible passage. Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Okay, so this is my story. This happened more than a decade ago. And I was in SS2 then. I was coming back from school. I was passing this. I was going to have to pass through this crowded market in Ewu Road, Ibadan. And from there, I go to my mom's shop. So usually, anytime I pass through these markets, because there are usually traders in the middle of the road, in wheelbarrow, on the side, everywhere is always so jam-packed, such that you can spend longer trying to get from one end to the market to the other. So usually, I'm always walking very fast and trying to navigate fast, cutting in front of people to get to the other end as fast as possible. So this day was not an exception. But funny enough, as I started walking, I noticed another woman. Well, she looked to be in her early 60s to late 60s, but she's a very small woman. This woman seemed to have the same idea as I did. She was intent on walking through the market as fast as possible, and I was. So we were shoulder to shoulder, so it began to seem like a competition. Both of us were not acknowledging each other, mind you. We were just walking, that kind of fast pace. I didn't want her to cut in front of me, and obviously she didn't want to cut in front of me. So finally, we could see the other end of the market, and as I was approaching the other end, it seemed like, yeah, finally I would win. Then there was just this thing in my mind, bam, like a stop sign, like that stop. And then I have this younger sister that just started GSS, was it GSS 1, or she should be in GSS 2 by then, in this private school. Their uniform was very nice, so anytime I see someone going to that school, I always pause to look at, does this person's uniform fit her like my sister's own? I was just kind of intrigued with the old school uniform thing and everything. And at the end of the market was the wheelbarrow pusher selling movies. At the time, we were watching Merlin then at home as well. And then this young girl going to my younger sister's school was holding a movie similar to Merlin. And then there was just that stop sign in my mind that said, stop, talk to this young girl. And at the same time, at the back of my mind, there was this woman is going to get to the end of the market before you. Keep going, keep going. And I was confused because it seemed so urgent, like you have to choose. And I was still busy speed walking, by the way. I was speed walking and I was wondering, what am I going to do? And then all of a sudden, I just came to a halt. It felt as if the decision was taken out of my hand. For real, that was the way it seemed, because next thing I know, I was snatching the movie out of the girl's hand. And the girl just looked at me appalled, like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, sorry, you're going to my younger sister's school. And then I was like, oh, this movie seems familiar, sorry. Can I purchase it? I didn't have the money for it. But while we were having this conversation, the next thing I knew was people were shouting, oh my God. It was towards December then, and people were shouting, oh my God. People were already crying. And this woman that we were competing together was in the middle of the road, because at the end of the market, you cross to the other side, or maybe you go down depending on where you're going. But I was going to cross anyway. And apparently the woman was going to as well. But actually at the time, the road was free. That was what I noticed. There was a trailer coming, but the trailer was very slow and it had blocked the other road. But apparently there was a bike that has lost its brake and was coming with a high speed. The bike hit the woman and the woman didn't survive it. And I just stood there and I was wondering that could have been me. That could have been me. Like, it could have been me instead of the woman. Or it could have been two of us, only God knows. Now, this brings us back to this Bible passage. It says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth, now I'm going to liken you and I to the earth, was without form, without purpose. It was void. And the darkness was upon the face of the deep. So it means that, okay, the earth, in quotes, you and I, we are without purpose initially, like we are just there. And then the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, it didn't say upon the face of the earth. It said upon the face of the waters. Now, if the Spirit of God is going to move, the Bible let us know in Romans chapter 8, verse 16, that the Spirit itself witnesses with our spirit that we are the children of God. So it means that the Spirit moves like with our own, what we call our conscience, over the waters. The waters there is like our conscience, our own spirit. And then it's going to move and try to see that, is there room for me to speak? Because the next action is, and God said. Now, if God is going to say something, there has to be room. The room has to be clear. It must not be a noisy area, somebody that is already listening to so many things at the same time. It said, and God said. Now, if God is going to speak to someone, well, so for instance, nature will always respond to God, but humans, we have free will. We can choose to hear and receive, and we can choose to hear and ignore. Now, let's see the response here. He said, let there be light. God spoke. He said, let there be light, and there was light. That's the response. The person, nature received what God said and responded. There was light. So when God speaks to us, how do we receive it? Do we receive it? Like in that moment, there was just that stop sign in my mind. Did I receive it promptly? Now, he said, and God saw. That's another action. See, the spirits moved. God said, God saw, and God saw. Now, mind you, it was God that called the same thing into existence, but he would still observe. Why doesn't it observe? Now, let's go back to the story. There was that moment where I told you, it was like there was this stop sign. And I still had the choice to choose to stop or not. Now, there are some people that when they hear from God, they're like, the king's business requires urgency rather. In the process, they just, immediately they do whatever God asks them. And there are some people that they just take, long to get there. Is there any other way I could avoid doing what God is telling me to do? God will take time to observe. He's seeing you. The acts with which you used to receive his instruction. If it pleases him. Now, let's go further. It says that, and God saw the light, that it was good. If the way you received it pleases him, he can move further with the assignment he has given you. Mind you, he's giving you a purpose, but the process to fulfilling that purpose is the one that we call it into existence in you. It's not about your talents, it's not about what you have. And then he said, finally, and God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Now we know from the process of God dividing the light from the darkness, they are called basically into their niche, into their vineyard, into where they will fulfill their purpose. There were two kinds of lights. To us as human beings, we don't see darkness as light. But God that created light and darkness knew that they were both different kind of light. And he segregated them into two different kinds. He called one light, he called one darkness. Initially, he just said, let there be light. Then he called one light, he called one darkness. He pushed them towards their purpose. He put them where they are needed. So basically, because God told you something about yourself, that okay, he called you, he said to you, and you received. That's the stage where many of us are. God just said to us and we received. And the process where God saw, God is not happy. The Bible passage said, and God saw the light that it was good. But with you, it was ungood. It was not good at all. God saw and he was not happy. Because you just have this... This is my friend that is sitting next to me, does not know that in 5 years' time, the stage I will be on, her foot can never step on it. I'm going to be so popular, I'm going to be so this, because it seems as if the race now is for relevance, it's for popularity. It is not about the assignment anymore. God saw. God will look at the acts with which you are doing the assignment. But basically, it all starts from the movement of the Spirit. Is there room for Holy Spirit to move in you? Enough for you to even hear. There are some that have not even reached the level of God saying, because they are not hearing at all. They can't hear. They can't see that stop sign. They can't hear when the Holy Spirit is saying, oh, grab that movie from that girl's hand. It may seem irrational. Some people actually hear, but because it does not make sense, it actually seems like I was harassing the poor girl in that story. But when God says move, you move. Let him clear the rest. I pray God will help you. I hope you were blessed.